Pros bet parlays. How and why? Never randomly throwing teams together looking for a big score, not even a three-teamer. But that doesn't mean that parlays aren't a piece of wise guys' portfolio over the course of a weekend, Teddy.
Yeah, and look, let's make this very clear. The way casual bettors bet parlays will not win. If you blindly bet too many of them, you won't have a prayer. Just look at the picture. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You can't just throw teams together. And remember, when you're dealing with parlays, you're only dealing with one sportsbook. So you lose the ability to line shop. You lose the ability to bet at different times of the week. Oh, I want this game now. I'm going to get this one on Saturday night before, you don't have those options. So when you're talking about beating parlays, it's not about trying to get a big score. It is, well, there are situations where it is, but there are definitely a piece of a wise guy's portfolio over the course of a weekend. There will be parlays, and it's not unusual to see that whatsoever. But the goal of this segment, like we did 2 weeks ago, we talked about teaser strategies. What are the positive expectation strategies for betting parlays? And the number one negative expectation strategy is randomly throwing teams together trying to get a big score. Not going to work. You will lose your money that way.
Okay, professionals love to bet. When they do bet parlays, they look for correlated parlays.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the simplest one. We always look for correlations. And the way to describe it, I guess, best was side and total in the same game. You know, if Team A is going to win and cover, this game's going to go over. Or if Team B is going to hang in the game as an underdog, the offense isn't good enough to trade points. It can only be an under. This is a concept that works in baseball. It's a concept that works in basketball. It's a concept that works in football. The side and total correlation, you put them together, and books will always take a two-team parlay. They're not going to tell you, no, you can't parlay side and total in the same game, with a couple of minor exceptions to that rule. But the bottom line is, that's the majority, not the majority, but certainly a piece of the parlay equation for the wise guys is simply betting side and total. Favorite correlates sometimes with over, other times with under. But when you can figure out the best correlation between the two, that's your optimal strategy.
Strong beware. Beware of false correlations.
Yeah, and that's the truth of it. It's a strong beware, because people are always thinking, oh, yeah, there's a correlation here, there's a correlation. Not necessarily. And you'll have to lose a good handful of side total parlays where you're like, oh, they can't win if the game goes over. They can't cover. Well, yes, they can. But that when I'm talking about side and total in the same game, that's just one type of correlation. There are other correlations. We're talking about week 17 in the NFL. You know, team A wins, team B is going to rest their starters, that type of things that are real correlations. But definitely beware of false correlations where item A or result A has absolutely nothing to do with result B.
Number 2, the under the radar for parlay card bettors. Book shade the cards to beat the public bettors.
Yeah, we got a bunch of parlay card stories. I got to tell a correlation. Give me one more correlation story for just a moment. All right, here's a Super Bowl parlay card, because your parlay cards you'll find, again, you see them in Vegas, but they're available online as well. But here's a Super Bowl parlay card. It's loaded with 50 plus options. Okay, Team A final score odd or even included among those options. Team B score odd or even. Final score odd or even. Well, I'm going to give you guys 5 seconds to figure out the way to play that parlay card. Meanwhile, play the Wheel of Fortune music, or the Jeopardy music. It's easy, okay? You play it odd, even, or even. If you have 2 odd scores, there'll be an even. If you have 2 even scores, it'll be an even. There's correlation there. And that's a sportsbook mistake. They happen. They don't happen a lot, but they do happen. Your job, if you want to beat parlays, is to find them and exploit them. And remember, you don't just have to put those in together, odd, even, or even. You can put them into bigger parlays and look for bigger scores.
Yeah. When you're betting these parlay cards too, and we know a professional who had a huge score at the Aladdin. Now, it's not the Aladdin anymore, just picking off stale numbers.
Well, that's the beauty of it. I mean, the books are always going to shade the card to beat the public bettors. You'll see parlay cards in every sportsbook in Las Vegas prominently displayed all year long because they beat the crap out of the public. The whole percentage on those things is enormous. So Games lined at 3 become 3.5 in football. The 7s become 7.5 because the public is going to bet favorites. The lines move. The cards get printed early in the week. And again, you talked about a guy that we both know who got his start. He's a well-known handicapper. He's beaten 10 teamers and 15 teamers doing nothing but taking advantage of bad numbers and playing mostly dogs. And of course, the prevailing thought process, nobody can beat 10 teamers. No wise guy would even look at them. Oops. And that can be a big oops in those situations. And when we're talking about those type of parlays, look, you get a 10 teamer, you hit one strong weekend in a season, you're even. You have 2 strong weekends over the course of a season, you made a bunch of money. You had 3 strong weekends, you're going to make a lot of money. But you need the bankroll and the mentality to withstand the potential for many, not just 1 or 2, but for many losing weekends in a row. Some guys are built that way, some guys aren't. If you don't have the bankroll and the mentality to withstand a steady stream of losses waiting for the big score, that's probably not the way you want to look.
This is also very important. Be smart and stay under the radar. You hit something, don't pound your chest, don't go crazy. Another thing, this is with parlay cards and also future tickets. Bet small, don't sound the alarms. No one notices a $20 parlay card, 30, 40. You want to try to put in 100, 150. That's when you get the attention of the supervisor. And just go up to the ticket, the teller rather, the writer, and say, here it is. Run the damn thing 3, 4, 5 times.
That's both excellent points. And you talk about not about pounding your chest. Look, if you're going to make either a steady chunk of change or a living betting on sports, it's not about figuring out how many books you can get kicked out of. It's about staying under the radar and being live to pick off bad numbers wherever you find them. So you say be smart enough to stay under the radar. Look, it's the Twitter age. Everyone's about self-promotion. Everyone's about, oh, look what I did, pounding their chest. That's not the way the pros do it. I'll just put it that way. And I love the concept that you brought up. Lots of smaller bets when exploiting a single bad number or 2 or 3. You wheel them into a bunch of parlays. Dozens and dozens of $20 parlays or $40 parlays will not raise an eyebrow. You'd be amazed at how much you can get down taking advantage of some of the bad numbers.
I did it a couple years ago in college basketball. I had Villanova at 50-1 to win it all. They made the Final Four. You go up there and say, give me $40 on Villanova to win it all. Give it to me again. Hit it again. Hit it again. Hit it again. And then the supervisor says, why do you want so many tickets? So, for the boys back in Philly. And even though you've never been there in your life. That's problem solved, taken care of. Great job with that, Teddy. And I know people loved the teaser segment a couple weeks ago. Hey guys, for the full video, go to sbrpicks.com.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SBR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.